Well, I smashed my nuts on a ride again today, so let's see how easy it's going to be walking you folks through servicing this shock.
Hey folks, we're back again with another video, and today we're going to be working on a Rockshox Deluxe Select rear shock. So this is the B2 chassis version of the Deluxe Select. We're going to be doing a full service on it, full 50-hour air can, damper service, and I'm going to be working on, well, the dial on this one, right? So this is a very popular shock, and I'm willing to bet the vast majority of them are totally neglected, and there's no reason for that. This is a very easy shock to work on. Reality is this is a good shock for the bikes that they're sold on and for most trails out there. So I'm going to make this video as easy as possible to follow so you folks out there can service your shock in order to have it running tip-top, all right? So with that being said, let's get into the tools and parts needed for this job. As always, the most important tool on this table, right there, safety glasses. This is a shock, it has oil, it has pressure, wear your safety glasses. So, tools in order of use, if you line them out this way, it'll make your life easier. So, pen, pencil, paper to write down your settings, shock pump to get your air settings to write down. We're going to take the shock, we're going to put in a vise on a flat jaw, and we are going to remove the air can. You might need a strap wrench, you might not. You might be able to do it by hand, you'll find out. So from there, we're going to go to the damper body and the IFP cap. We're going to need a Schrader valve removal tool to remove the cap in order to remove the air from the IFP chamber. Then we're going to vertically mount the shock in a flat jaw. You are going to need a 2mm Allen to remove the bleed screw and a 17mm wrench or adjustable wrench, nip-back, so on and so forth, to separate the air piston from the damper body. But you're going to need a 17mm close wrench in order to torque it all back down later, right? So we're going to separate the damper body. We're going to take the oil, put it into a little container over here. And first we're going to work on the IFP, right? So to remove the IFP, you could use a shock pump with the adapter, or you could use an air can. You'll see later. But to set the IFP, this is a Rockshox tool to set the IFP depth. You can use a caliper if you have a caliper. You do not need to go buy this tool, okay? Personally, I'm not a big fan of this tool. It's very easy to overshoot with this tool. You got to be very careful with it. So now we're done with the damper body. Put it on the side. We work on the piston. For the piston, there is a 10mm nut. You're going to need a 10mm socket, and then you could use a zip tie or tie strap in order to remove the piston assembly and keep it all together in one assembly essentially, right? So from that point on, you have two options. One, you can continue and work on the eyelet. I don't recommend it unless you have issues with your dial. Or two, you could just continue and clean everything, change seals, and put it all back together later on. I'll explain that in the video. If you want to work on the eyelet. For the eyelet, you got to remove the shaft. You're going to need a 10mm soft jaw hole from the eyelet itself. This is an eyelet removal tool, but you could use it depending on which eyelet you have, a 13mm wrench, 54mm wrench. That depends on what you have, right? You could use a nip-back, adjustable wrench, so on and so forth. But to work on the actual dials, you're going to need a 1.5mm and a 2mm Allen to work on the dials. So if you end up doing that, we're going to have to put the shaft back into the eyelet. You're going to need Loctite blue for that one, okay? Then for the air piston, there is a Delrin ball in the air piston, and that could be a pain in the butt to get out. A 1.5mm Allen, this is a broken one actually, so it worked out to my advantage, but a 1.5mm Allen and a mallet, we'll go over it later, to knock it out comes in very handy, okay? So now we assembled the air piston. We're going to fill up the damper with oil. The damper piston. We're going to fill up the damper body with oil. We're going to mount it into a soft jaw. Now, this soft jaw is specifically made for this particular shock. Ultimately, all you need is anything with a 28.5, let's say 28.6mm hole, and you want to clamp the damper body at the IFP. That's why this is so deep, right? So you don't need to go buy one of these. If you can find anything that is like basically a 28.6mm hole, give or take, it'll work just fine. So now we fill it up, we connect it together. Now we fill up the IFP chamber with air. You could use your shock pump. You don't have to use nitrogen. And this adapter is a Rockshox adapter. You can get them anywhere aftermarket. This one's been used many times, as you can see, right? You're gonna need a torque wrench, alcohol, paper towel, and that's pretty much it, folks. I think I'm missing a tool or two, but we'll go over it as we go through this service. All right, let's get into the parts needed for the job. As for parts, we're gonna need a seal kit. Part number 00.4318.037.001. This is the 200-hour kit for multiple Deluxes. It has everything you need in it, air can and damper parts. The only thing, this one has been open, and what I don't see in it is the pillow pack oil for the air can. It should have it. I'm guessing at some point I might have taken it, I guess. I'm not sure what happened to it, but usually it comes with a kit. That pillow pack is 15W50 oil, but you have options now, right? You could also use Maxima Plush Dynamic Light for the air can as well. For the damper, we're going to need Maxima Plush 7-weight oil. And I'm going to be using SRAM butter for grease. You could use dynamic grease, you could use slick oleum, slick honey, whatever your preference is, all right? So with that being said, let's get into servicing this shock. Before we work on the shock, make sure you clean it best you can. Get all the dirt out from all the little small parts. It'll only make your life easier, and we definitely don't want to get dirt inside when we close it up later, right? So the first thing we're going to need to do is write down our settings. So let's start off with the rebound. Since this is an easy one, we're going to turn it fully counterclockwise to the fully open position and count the clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clicks. 7 in this case. Then what we're going to do is take off our air cap, and we're going to write down our air pressure, which is 136. Something tells me that's not accurate, but 136. And we are going to let out the air slowly, okay? Just slowly let it out. Next, we mount the shock on a flat vise and we remove the air can. First, let's remove the sag ring, right? Now, removing the air can, if you can't do it by hand. Okay, I got it. You might need a strap wrench if you can't do it by hand, right? So I definitely got this one now. Before fully removing the air can, just to be sure, grab a cloth, put it through the end over here just in case it decides to pop off. Make life easier. Put force this way when removing it, just in case there's pressure in there it wants to release. There we go. Oh, we are good. Take off our cloth. And there's our air can. All right, let's put this guy here. Let's take off our countermeasure, put that on the side. To open up the damper, first thing we need to do is remove the air from the IFP chamber. Grab a Schrader cap removal tool. These are cheap, you can get them anywhere. And remove the cap. And put it on the side. Then grab a piece of paper towel, I don't know, a 3mm Allen, any kind of Allen, but make sure you use towel to take out the air because oil mist will want to come out. In this case, we're not too bad. And we just took out the air. Next, we're going to remove the bleed screw. For that, we need a 2mm Allen. And counterclockwise, move the screw, put the screw on the side. Now we're going to separate the top half from the damper body. 17mm wrench, Knipex, adjustable wrench, whatever you got, but a crow's foot to torque it down later. 17mm crow's foot, or you could use a crow's foot, right? Just give it a crack. Oh boy. Oh my God, this one was in there super, super, super tight. Way, 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 way too tight. Okay. That was ridiculous. Now, there we go. Let's put our eyelet on the side for now. Take our damper body and we empty the oil. Ooh, nasty. And it's got all sorts of black bits in it. That's not good. As always, folks, when it comes to oils, dispose of them properly. Don't put them down a toilet. Don't put them down a sink. Don't throw them outside. Don't put them in a garbage. Put them in a bottle that clearly marks dangerous. Don't drink. Give it to a local bike shop. Give it to an auto shop. They will know what to do with it, all right? So the first thing I'm going to work on is the IFP. We need to remove it. 2 ways we could remove it. One, you could grab your adapter with a shock pump. Put the adapter in, the IFP air fill adapter, right? These are real cheap. You can get them good prices online. You don't have to buy the Rockshox ones. You got like many other types you can get for much less. Put it in there, attach your shock pump, pump it up, the IFP will come out. But we're gonna have to remove the Schrader valve anyway. So if you have an air can, you could just remove the Schrader valve. Just like that. All right. And take your air can, put it inside, and pop. there is our IFP. Next, we're going to take some alcohol, spray it inside, spray it outside. Grab a paper towel. Make sure you're able to reach the bottom. This is a long one. There we go. Make sure it's nice and clean inside. Clean the outside. And then we inspect it. Outside, what we're looking for is, oop, that's good. Any kind of, like, you know, scratches, as well as the inside. Use reflection, turn it around. Since I have no idea of the history of this thing, the inside is looking great. Awesome. So then, take our IFP. Our IFP has a seal. Remove that seal. Grab paper towel. Clean the IFP. It's on the side. Clean the seat. Make sure the seat's nice and clean. All right, and if we go into the kit's going to have a small bag that says IFP. We have the IFP replacement plus the seal replacement for the cap, right? And it gives us the bleed screw replacement. I don't even know why they do that, to be honest. So, open up the bag. Said open up the bag. Monkey can't open up the bag. There we go. Come on. You can do it. All right, we managed it, right? So this is the old one. Put it on the side. Grab grease. I'm going to put grease on the seat first. Oops. Okay. I'm going to put some grease on the O-ring and done. I'll wipe off some of that excess grease. All right, since we're here, might as well change the seal on the Schrader. Grab another one here. Man, I need better glasses. I better make out what I'm doing. Okay, there goes that one. Let's clean any grease or anything might be on here. Let's put a thin coat of grease just to keep it from drying. Okay, be like that. There we go. And make sure it sits in its seat all the way around, and it's in its seat. And if we want, we could replace the bleed screw. When it comes to setting the IFP depth into the damper body, you absolutely need to know which shock you have, which version, because there's multiple versions. If you look at that chart over there, you could see there's many options for different years, for different types. And to make it matters worse, they actually changed the names. For instance, RL and RT are now Select plus R is now Select, right? So you really need to look at that chart, figure out what you have in order to figure out your IFP depth. You also need to know the shock stroke. This one is a 60. So this is a Select. And if we look at the chart over there, the Select used to be the R. So if I look at the 60, it says the 60R at the bottom, I need to be 69.3 millimeters deep. Now, you could use this Rockshox tool, which I'm not a big fan of, or you could use a caliper. If you don't want to buy this tool, if you use a caliper, just make sure to put the base of the caliper in here, okay? Not from the top sides over here, it goes on the inside. So in my case, again, I said I needed to be 69.3, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of grease, we're gonna put it inside the chamber, right? Just coat the walls. Then I'm gonna take my IFP, I'm gonna sink it in, right? Now, this tool is pretty tricky. It's very easy to overshoot, right? So what I'm gonna do is sort of dry my hands first. Okay, and then sink it into, let's say, the 60 mark, like that, right? And then slowly twist like that until you get to your mark. And I said 69.3, right? Which is very hard to get the 0.3 on this tool personally. That's why I like the Fox tool better. So that's 69 right there. And I'm going to go a little bit past that 69 and I should be good. So again, 69.3 on this one, but yours, chances are, will be different. Okay, so look at that chart again and, well, figure out which one is yours, because I can't tell you, right? So then what we're going to do is we're going to take the Schrader valve, we're going to put it back in. Make sure it sits at its base. Nice and snug. Don't over tighten it, just nice and snug. And our damper body is set. Next, we need to remove the bolt so we can remove the piston assembly. 10 millimeter socket. Be careful over here. The one negative about this particular shock, this Select Plus, so on and so forth, the shaft here is really weak. We'll talk about that later when we torque it down. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here is we're going to take the nut. We're going to put it on the side. Then grab yourself a tie wrap, zip tie, so on and so forth. We're going to lift the assembly as a whole and make sure everything sits inside it. There we go. And that is our complete shim stack. I will separate this later. You don't need to. You could just inspect it on here to make sure everything's okay, but we'll get to it later, all right? For now, I'm just going to twist it and put it on the side. Take out the bearing housing, bottom out bumper, and take out washer, spacer, and we have a token. So we're going to take out our token. We have two tokens. And I have hair all over me. I swear, hair gets everywhere. So, one token and two tokens. All right. Now, since we're working on the eyelet, well, also over here we have a, hair's going to drive me nuts. We have a seal on the inside here that we are going to change. Put that seal on the side. And that is pretty much it. What you can do is also take off the Schrader valve if you want, but you don't really have to in order to clean it. So that is pretty much disassembling the whole inside. Next is optional. I am going to take apart the dial and clean everything inside. This is completely optional. You do not have to do what I'm about to do here. You could skip to the section when we start assembling all this here, all right? To separate the shaft from the eyelet, we're going to need a 10 millimeter hole for soft jaw. Put some out or spray some alcohol to clean the shaft. Make sure there's no grease on it. Make sure your soft jaw is clean. I'm going to put it in there. Chances are we won't need heat. Now you could use a wrench, Snipex, or whatever. I have an eyelet tool over here, right? So, and make sure I'm not spinning. Am I spinning? Yes, I am spinning. And we are good. Okay. We're gonna lift that. Now, one thing to note, and this is total BS, Rockshox. Plain and simple. In here, there is an O-ring. Rockshox does not provide this O-ring, so be very careful with it. In order to get that O-ring, you need to buy this whole shaft, which they do sell. Okay, that's total BS. They should include this O-ring in the 200-hour seal kit, Rockshox. That's pretty much for all their shocks, to be honest. It's just dumb. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the side for now. So again, this is totally optional, okay? So first we need to remove the set screw, 1.5 millimeter Allen right here on top, if you can see that clearly. And take it and put it on the side. And then a 2 millimeter Allen to remove our detent ball and spring. Be careful here. Okay. Remove it. Put the screw on the side, tap, and come on, you know you want to come out. Oh, it really doesn't want to come out. Oh, got all dirt in here. Okay, let's see if we could Get the spring out. There's the spring. And there's our ball. All right, now, at the same time, there is also, let's take out our knob. Simple enough, right? Ooh, that's really cakey and muddy in there. Holy cow. At the same time, there's also a plastic sleeve, which I don't believe is replaceable back here, right? So let me double check that. It's been a while. So grab our 2mm. Let's remove this screw. There is a plastic sleeve, but I don't think it's for this one here. I'm fairly confident it's not. I mean, I see it on the inside, but I don't think it's replaceable. Let me double check that. Come on. Yep, this one's not replaceable. So there is a plastic sleeve on the outside, but I want to remove it. I want to clean this whole thing best I could, actually. See if I can get it out of here. Come on. Come on. Because it's really, really cakey. And the reality is the last few clicks really weren't working that good on this shock over here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Nearly there. There we go. All right, we got it. Now on the dial, we have a couple of like Teflon clips, right? So just stretch them apart a little bit. To remove them, be careful. They might be plastic actually. Just make sure you don't break them, right? So one at the top, one at the base over here. Be careful with this one. There was my pick. Be very careful with this one. There we go. And now we should be able to slide it out. Right, and lift it above here. Be careful, just be very gentle, and you could do this. There we go. Now, let's grab alcohol. Let's clean all that gunk, all that mud. Clean the inside. Actually, let's do a better job than that. Well, I got two of them here. Oh, it's folded. This open like this. Okay. All right. All right, this one's clean. Let's be careful with these two bushings because these are literally acting as bushings. Let's clean the inside and the outside. One. Two. All right. Clean your detent ball. Clean your spring. Clean your set screw. Let's clean this spacer. Clean this set screw. And we don't have to worry about that. And now we clean our eyelet. Actually, give me a clean one. Make sure you clean the threads over here and the threads inside this tube here. And then also make sure to clean, wow, look at that. Make sure to clean the inside in here. It's like mud. So I'm going to thoroughly clean this. I'll be back when I'm done. Now again, we have another optional service. There technically is an O-ring inside here, but they don't give us a replacement. Ignorant. You got to buy a whole eyelet to get that O-ring. They should just include it in the kit. So we can take it out in order to clean it, grease it, make sure it has a fresh coat of grease. Actually, here's my other one. It's going to be a little bit easier getting this one, I bet. Probably this side. Go underneath, scoop it. It's right there at the base. There we go. We have, just be very careful with it. All right. So again, we could just go in there, give it just a quick wipe down. All right. Okay, let me give this a quick wipe down. Then what we're going to do for this one, we're going to grab shrimp butter, put it on there. Okay, so it stays nice and fresh. We tuck it in, squeeze it, bring it to the base. Grab a pick and sink it to the base. Oop, nearly there. That's one side, and the last little bit right there, and we are done. Right? Yep. Now let's go in there, clean the rest of the grease off the threads. I don't have to go too deep. And we are ready to assemble the dial. To assemble it, first let's prep the dial itself, the rebound itself. What we're going to do is we're going to take regular grease, not shrimp butter, right? So we're going to put some here and at the base over here. And let's put some on the bushings. Got one bushing. Let's insert this bushing all the way down. Be careful with it. Don't overstretch it. Just stretch a little bit, enough to fit down. Sink this one to the end. It will sit on its own. Repeat the same here. And we are good. Next, we're going to take this plastic thing. Now, the smaller of the set screws, so you got one 1.5 millimeter one and one 2 millimeter one. The larger one goes for the ball and spring, and the sorry, my bad. The smaller one is the set screw for the front. The larger one is the set screw for the back. Is how that one works, right? So the 2 millimeter one is for the back over here, and then this screw holds down the ball and spring. So there is a hole here, right? Now this could be tricky. We need to align that hole with this hole there, right? So it's not going to be all that easy. Bring this in, stuff it all the way to the back. Take a good look. It looks like the hole's pretty much aligned right there. So we said this one here, 2 millimeter. And if we did it right, there we go. It'll fit in. Okay, screw this one down just like that, and we are good. So now we need to make sure that this opening over here is upwards like that. We do not want this part here up like this because the set screw goes in there, right? So just make sure we are good like that. Don't put it too far in because you'll see, well, I mean, a set screw will take care of it, right? So we can do first, let's take our set screw, put it in, 1.5 millimeter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to screw it all the way down, and when you screw it all the way down, the knob should not move, locked in. Now we're going to unscrew it 1/8 or 1/4 of a turn, and the knob moves, so we are good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take a little bit of grease, put a little bit of grease on a detent ball. Did it fall in? Yeah, it did fall in. All right, oops, and I move the camera. Take a little bit of grease on the spring. Not that much grease, but okay. Set the spring in there. Then once again, with our 2mm, we're going to screw this in until it's flush. Just like that. Now we should feel it. Boom. Totally feel the clicks from the ball. Clean off the excess grease. And our dial is done. Before we put the shaft back in, so we had separated the shaft. There is, as I mentioned, an O-ring. What you can't do is remove the O-ring. Be very, very careful with it. And I mean very careful. Squeeze it, go underneath it, try and lift it up. Do not snap this O-ring or damage it in any way. They do not provide us a spare. Totally ignorant. Okay, now you really don't have to do this. Basically, I'm just cleaning the shaft, cleaning the seat, okay, cleaning the O-ring. I'm doing this to apply a fresh coat of grease on this O-ring. So let's take it from this side. Again, be very careful with it. Be careful with these sharp edges. Just lift it over the edges. Come on. Come on. There we go. All right. Done. Slide it down. Hey, put a snag on. Come on. There we go. And in its seat it goes. Put a little bit more grease on it. Now let's take this and we are going to put it in just like that. Now before we install it, let's wipe the threads clean. Now you do not need this technically, but I'm going to put a small dab of Loctite blue, just like that. Okay, now if we look at the shaft, you're going to see there's squared sides, right? And if we look on the inside over here, you're going to see there's squared sides at the base. So the square sides run parallel to the dial essentially, right? So when we put this in, we want one of those squares to line up with the dial. Okay, so we're going to put that in. And then we're going to screw it down. Screw it down as much as you can by hand. That seems to be it by hand. There we go. All right. And then we're going to put it back in our 10mm. Now, let's do it with the ratchet first a little bit. Be very careful here until you can't do it anymore. There we go. Now, I highly recommend not doing this by hand. That shaft is actually pretty weak and can snap pretty easily, right? So Rockshox recommends 4.5 Newton meters. The problem with 4.5 Newton meters is sometimes it could come loose. The Loctite will help. I go to 5 Newton meters. I would not go higher than 5 Newton meters. Personally, if I was you, if you don't trust, if you're not sure that you have a very accurate torque wrench, I would stay at 4.5 Newton meters with the blue Loctite. If you think your torque wrench is accurate, then I would go to 5 Newton meters and try and be as spot on as possible, because you can literally snap this shaft just by torquing it down like that. That's how sensitive the shaft is. That's the one downside to the Select Plus, so on and so forth. Especially this side. We'll get to this side later because this cuts off real easy if you're not careful. Well, we are done over here. Everything seems to be working. Now let's put everything back together. Put the eyelet back in the flat soft jaws. I opened up my damper body service kit. I lined up everything in order. Just make sure you do not lose this white ball. We need that white Delrin ball for the bleed hole later, okay? So do not lose it. Put it somewhere safe. So first, we are going to start off with replacing the inner O-ring. I'm going to take some grease. I'm going to put it on there and slide it in to its seat. Be careful here. Well, don't be careful. Just, oops, sorry about that. Great. Just make sure it's sitting in the right seat. This could be tricky. It likes to flop around. Just like that. Oh, right. Okay, camera's in the way. I can't see squat. Oop, one little bit here, and we are nearly there. Come on, you could do it. There we go. So we are in. Now, I'm not going to put the tokens in, but I am going to put the spacer in. Washer. We have a new bumper. Let's put in the new bumper. Okay. Now, we're going to change the outer seals later. First, we're just going to change the inner seals on the bearing assembly. So we're air piston, well, air piston technically. So we have one in here. Then we have one on the inside in here. Question is, where is the one from the kit? Why don't I see it? This is definitely, this might be it actually. No, it's not. This is absolutely the bumper. Okay, folks. Let me go hunt around, I'll be back. And I found it. It was in the large bag with another small O-ring, probably for the lifting plate. So, oh well, out with the old, in with the new. Actually, before we do that, let's clean the inside seats here well. And let's clean this seat in here well. All right. That's good. Now what I'm going to, oops, now what I wanted to do, I wanted to grab this. I'm going to grab grease. I fill up the seat on the inside. Okay. We're going to grab some more grease. I'm going to put it on our O-ring. Squish the O-ring. I'm going to put it in. We're going to seat one side in. We are going to hold it down, sink it into the seat. And from the other side, let's try and sink it in. Make sure you hold the hole and try and sink it all in. Just like that. Perfect. All right, now there's the old one. Let's replace with a new one. Definitely this one here. Actually, I think both of those are the same anyway. Put some grease on it. This one's going to slide into the base. You know what I should have done? We have to take out the ball that's into the bleed ball. To do that, grab a 1.5 millimeter Allen, or God, if you have a punch, that would work out pretty good too. See if you can squeeze it out. This could be a struggle sometimes. It's on an angle, right? So, and it could be a real struggle. Sometimes you might have to put it in a vise. Let me see if I could push it out like this. Yeah. There we go. Nope, that's going to be a real struggle. I'm going to put it on the vise. The way we're going to do that is clamp onto these flat sides here. If it'll let you. Won't let me, will it? Yes, it will. There we go. And then we're going to put this guy in here. Right, again, this is a 1.5 millimeter Allen. Broken Allen. Grab a mallet and just lightly tap it out. There we go. And it, oh, I know it came out. Now, sometimes, one thing to note, sometimes these things will tear off and leave residue on the threads. So look for that. If there is residue on the threads, you're going to have to go in there with a pick and try and remove all that residue, right? So, oh, there it is. What do you know? Garbage. Now let's put this guy back in here. So, we are going to take our bearing assembly. We're going to put it in. Now, porting over here, clean any excess grease, especially in the holes. There's holes on the side. If any grease went in there, just go in there and clean it out with a pick if you have one. Those don't have it. Okay. Now, what you can do is basically inspect all the shims one by one like this, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them all apart and put them all together again, clean them, put them all together again. You don't have to do that. I'm just going to do that to show you guys what it's like, what it looks like, okay? Again, you don't have to do this. You could just check your shims by spreading them out, right? I'm going to do it for each one and clean them also to show you guys what it looks like in case everything falls apart on you, right? Not that it's going to be identical shim stack, but all the main components are going to be basically the same. So we're going to start off with a spacer. So this is from the nut on, right? So this could be our rebound side. So this is our check shim. All right, now always straighten this out. Always make sure that there's only one shim, right? There's check shim plate. Now, the triangle part is on top, the bottom is flat, right? And again, another rebound shim plate or check shim plate. Triangle part is down, flat part is up. Then we have our rebound shims. Okay, just like that. We got 3 spacers, more than 3 spacers actually. Something like that and like that. Yeah. Again, this is optional. 3 over here. Always separate them because these things they stick together like magnets sometimes. It really is crazy. All right, see what I mean? That felt like it was only 2 of them, and it's 3, right? Well, could even be 4. So 1, see what I mean? That's what I want to clean off is dirt. There's a lot of dirt inside this shock, like rubber bits. That's why I'm doing this. If you regularly maintain yours, chances are you won't have to run into that. Okay, that's the rebound. So the rebound, oops, watch out. Don't pull this guy out until you know all your compression shims are separated from it. There we go. All right, so compression shim goes down. So now, make sure there's only one. See what I mean? There's little black bits all over everything too, and that's not good. 3. And again, there's different shim options for this. So the shims themselves might be different in yours, or order and sizing, but the main components like this, that, so on and so forth will be the same. Should be the same. And last little spacer. Now this is like a cone, right? So the flat part goes down. Yeah, flat part goes down. And that is the stack. Put it back together. So this can be the bottom, this can be the top, right? So that's gonna be the bottom, that's gonna be the top. So what I'm gonna do, start from this side. All right, just clean that. Remember the flat part goes down. Then we're gonna do the same for everything else. It's all that little black stuff that I wanna move, or remove, I should say. Remember, actually, let's put this like that. Clean the inside here. Clean the piston band, even though we can't change it. Okay, so remember the compression, flat part goes down in like that. And then rebound goes next? See all that black stuff? It won't let the shims close completely, so that's not a good thing. It's like black rubber bits from the seals. Now remember, this part goes down, and then on this one, flat part goes down. So the flat parts line up, face each other. Shim, check shim, spacer, and well, then we have the nut. We're ready to install this. Unfortunately, this one, if you install it as a whole, it could be a little bit tricky because they don't give us anything to put a tie wrap or zip tie into, right? So we're gonna have to make sure we align it best we can. Reality is I should have just installed it one by one into it, but if you're careful over here, you should be able to just align it. This would be much easier with a pick, to be honest, with these types. So just be careful over here, take your time, jiggle it back and forth. Oops, 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 come on. Tell me I didn't mess it up. I did mess it up. I gotta find out. Oh, that's actually the top one, so I'm good. So again, this could be a pain in the butt like this if you disassemble it, right? Or using tie wrap. What you might want to do is just grab a pick, bring it all the way through, remove the tie wrap, be careful over here. Great, now the tie wrap's jammed. Come on now. A little bonehead. Get out of there. Come on. Making my life miserable. Come on. There we go. All right, now take the point and put it on top, leave it on top. Like I said, this could be a little bit tricky. And then don't move your pick. And that's gonna be the worst part over here. Find those small ones. And there we go. Yay, we did it. When it comes to torquing down this nut, again, this shaft is very weak. It does not take much pressure to break it, okay? So you need to be pretty careful over here. One, get some Loctite blue. We're gonna take a little bit of Loctite blue. We're gonna put it right on the outer edge over here. Okay, don't put much, although this hole on this thing makes my life miserable sometimes. There we go. So even that's a little bit too much, to be honest. So if you got excess, just wipe it off. All right, now we're going to take it, screw it in by hand first. Flat side goes above, my bad. All right, now when it comes to torquing it down, Rockshox says 4.5. It could come loose at 4.5. I'd take it to 5 if you know you have an accurate torque wrench. If you don't know, if you're not sure as far as how accurate your torque wrench is, I would stick to 4.5 to play it safe, all right? So in my case, well, I probably should have done more by hand, so I don't sit here. Just don't assume with a ratchet, because you could you go past 6 Newton meters on this, you'll snap it, I'm sure. There we go. 3 and 4.5, and I'm going to take it to 5. I'm 5 on the money. Again, you really risk going above 5 in my opinion, and ultimately, if you don't know how accurate your torque wrench is, because trust me, most torque wrenches aren't fully accurate, you take a real risk of snapping the top part of that bolt, okay? Otherwise, stay 4.5 with the torque wrench. that should give you some leeway if you're not accurate, and make sure to use a little bit of Loctite glue on this thing. Before we close it all up, let's prep. So I have my 17 millimeter wrench. You might have a Nipix or an adjustable wrench, but 17 millimeters crowfoot, 28 Newton meters in order to torque it down. We have our bleed screw ready, and more importantly, make sure you have your bleed ball with you, okay? 2 millimeter Allen for the bleed screw. We have our 7-weight oil. Now I mounted the damper onto a 28.6, let's say, soft jaw hole. Now try and find, when you mount it onto a soft jaw hole, try and mount it around the IFP so the IFP doesn't sink. It's pretty susceptible for Rockshox, okay? So you could use a flat soft jaw. Just make sure that if you don't have one that has a 20.6, give or take-ish millimeter hole, just make sure if it's a flat soft jaw, it's really soft, then you squish it down in the middle where the IFP is sitting, okay? So just make sure I did that. So next, what I'm going to do first is grab a paper towel around here to collect any oil that might spill out. All right, so we're going to take our 7-weight oil and we are going to fill it up to the top. Okay, just like that. Close this up before you spill it by mistake. Grab something rubbery. Vibrate it to make sure there's no air where the Schrader valve is at the bottom. And we are looking good. We have a couple little bubbles on top. Let's move them to the side. Now, you have an option. You can fill this up with oil. If you do that, make sure you cover the bleed screw, right? So you really don't need to. This shock actually bleeds quite well. Rockshox in general. So what we can do is fill it up if we want. You really don't need to do this. The most important thing is when you put it in, you want to roll it in, and ultimately you do not want to insert it from the eyelet, right? We need the air piston to be essentially as far up to the damper piston on the inside. We don't want the air piston falling back, right? So what we're going to do over here is we're going to roll it, sink it, and start turning by hand. But there's really no rush, okay? So 1, 2, 3, roll it, sink it, oops, sink it. And make sure, always by hand. Come on, come on. Great, great. Good thing I put extra oil. This thing didn't catch up. Yeah. Beautiful. There we go. Now I have it. If it sticks on you, don't force it. Just go back a little bit. Again, we have more than enough oil in here. All right, and you will see air bubbles, just like now, and oil coming out of the bleed hole. Just take your time. There's no rush. Okay. Like I said, the most important thing is that this doesn't sink. Okay, now you can take your 17 millimeter Nipix, just slowly bring it around until you bottom out, which I feel, oh, there we go. And then grab our torque wrench and 28 Newton meters, all right? So take it and nearly there. 28.2. Now we grab our bleed ball and we put it in the hole. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. Hard to tell. Let it sink. Then we grab our bleed screw. It's actually a very easy shock. All these shocks are really easy to bleed. Okay, and then we want to crush the bleed ball, but you don't have to kill it, right? So screw it in there until by hand you feel significant force. It's hard to describe how much force. Like you'll feel it sort of squishing in there, right? And that's pretty much it right there. Cool. Take it, just remove it, clean off the excess oil. And next we fill the IFP with air. To fill it up with air, once again, you need to know which shock you have because different versions require a different amount of air in the IFP chamber. So if you look at this chart over there, you will see that the select, which is equal to the R, needs 350 psi. Okay, so other versions will need something different. Now, you're going to need a shock pump that goes beyond 300 PSI in either case, right? In any case. So I have one over here that goes up to 600. Now, this is the Rockshox adapter. There's many versions of it. You get them for a few bucks online, 10 bucks, 15 bucks if you look around, right? So basically, we are going to take the adapter. We're going to screw it in. And you could use regular air. You do not need to use nitrogen. So, I sometimes put in nitrogen, sometimes I don't. So, screw this down, and then I'm going to grab a towel so it's not as loud. What I'm going to do is basically use the table as leverage. Start filling up until I hit 350 PSI. Actually, let's do it this way so I can actually see what I'm doing. Nope, not a good position for the camera, but we'll figure it out. If I do it like this, it's going to make too much noise. Okay, a few more of those and we're good. Nearly there. Oh, so close. There I am, right on the money, 350. Now let's leave it there, and we are not, are we leaking? We have a very, very, very slight leak, which is okay. We'll be able to remove it without any issues. Now I'm above 350. You want to make sure you're at the 350. So I'll let that leak do its, there we go. Now I'm at 350. Now hold the red knob and unscrew. There we go. That air came out of the shaft, not from in the shock. All right, so now what we can do, so we don't forget it, put the cap on. Why they couldn't make this cap a little bit deeper to fit better into the Schrader tools. Honestly, Rockshox, please. It's a minor detail, but there we go. And now we test it. Considering how simple this shock is, we could test it right here on the vise. Now my situation is I have a camera right there, so I got to wrap around to actually push down. There is going to be a lot of pressure. For you guys, it should be a lot easier. So basically, we want to make sure the rebound is in the fully open position, fully clockwise first, right? Then we're going to press down. It's going to be stiff all the way. Let go. Boom. Okay, we're coming up pretty good. Now let's put in the full lock position and then push down all the way. Yep. And it comes up real slow. Yep, she is working. Now we're ready to finish up the rest of the 50-hour service. For starters, we're going to work on the air can. I opened up the air can service kit, right? So these are the damper seals. These are the damper body seals, I should say, or at least the air can seals and the damper seals. So first we're going to start off with the air can. So I'm going to take out the wiper, take out this glide ring. Okay, let's get a stiffer. All right. And then in here, we also have a quad ring underneath it, right there. All right, and on this side, we should have a seal, the thin one. So this thin one here goes on this side of the air can. This one here goes into the top of the eyelet, which we already changed. We don't need that. So now I'm gonna grab can, spray it with alcohol, and we are going to give it a good cleaning. Get all the old debris from out of there. From out of there. Out of there, not from out of there. Okay. Now make sure you get in this area, take your fingers and put it inside, because a lot of dirt collects on the inside over here. There's that sort of like an extra volume. See what I mean? That all sits here. So make sure you get your finger in there, or else you won't be able to get it with the towel. Won't get unless you actually apply pressure in there. All right. Let's Get that full scratch anything. That's looking better. Now we want to clean the seats on the inside. So bunch up, make a corner, fit it into the seat, and then just spin it around. Do that again. Bunch it up, make a corner, fit it in there, spin it around. And then we do the same to the outer wiper seat. That's looking pretty good. Let's do it one more time. Just grab a clean corner. All right. Let me just make sure the inside is completely debris free. It's hard to get my fingers down there all the way. That's looking good. And this side's looking good. Yay. All right, so we know we have our wiper, Teflon seal, and our quad ring, right? So first, I'm gonna grab, you could use dynamic grease. I'm gonna use saran butter. I'm gonna grab my quad ring. Put a little grease on it. We're gonna put it on the on the inside seat. Okay, make sure you do not twist it. Putting it in there, take a look at it, and it is looking good. Then we're going to take our split ring, and that goes outside of it, or on top of it, facing outside. Okay, make sure it is seated properly. Yes, it is. And then we're just going to clean grease off of there, and we are going to install our wiper. Now make sure, use your nails, put it in the bottom thread, and then turn to clean all the debris and dirt within these threads. It's only going to make your life easier later. Take a bit, but it is worth it. Okay, clean the seat for the O-ring. Want a good seal over here. Now here we're just going to put a very, very, very light coat again, just to keep it fresh or lubed up. Oops, took the wrong one. What am I doing? Don't do the same mistake. Oh, now I gotta lube this one. Again, very light coating. Be careful with it. Don't tear it. Put it over and sink it to the base. And it is in. Our air can is done. Now we will work on the shock. At least on the air seal piston. Let's move all this stuff out of here. So we have 2 split rings and a quad ring. All right, let's take off the small split ring first. Oh, looks like I'm going to take out the small split ring and the quad ring at the same time. All right. And then this is a thicker split ring that goes on top, and it's directional, so we'll get over that. We'll go over that. I need sleep when we get there. All right, so next what we're going to do is a little bit of alcohol, clean the seat, because there was a good amount of like sandy debris in the shock, and that's not good. Okay. That is all clean. So now I'm going to start off with the quad ring. Put some grease on it. Again, you could use dynamic grease. You could even use oil if you want. All right, we put that in the middle. Now let's start off with that's the thicker one. So if you notice, it's rounded. Okay, so we want the rounded part to sit on top. Okay, so let's put this in like this. So we want it like that. The rounded part should come nice and flush. We don't want the sharp edge on this side. And again, put a little bit of grease. And we also want to make sure that it sits correctly, right? We don't want them sitting on top of each other like that. It needs to sit like that. So let's put this one in. Yeah. All right, now what you can do is offset the holes, put one on one side and one on the other side, right? So the slice is over here. Okay, so countermeasure. Actually, give it a cleaning. Probably should have cleaned it better. See how much dirt's on it. Oh, you know what? Make sure yours is clean. This one definitely has like sandy debris on it. Soak it with alcohol. Yeah. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Let the alcohol dry. Soak up as much as you can. That's better. All right. Countermeasure is nice and clean. No more sandy bits on it. Get rid of that. So, we're done with that. Now we're going to install the air can. When we install the air can, we're going to need oil on both sides, right? So I'm going to use the 1550. You could use this. You could use the pillow pack that usually comes with the kit. You could use the Plush Light if you want, the Maxima Plush Light. I'm just going to use the 1550 since I have the bottle. I put in a syringe 2 cc's, 1 cc on each side. So that's 1 cc to give you an idea as far as, you know, how much a cc is. So I'm just going to put one on this side. Just like that. That's one. Move it around. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit on here. Okay, and we're going to take this guy, we're going to insert him. Be careful with the seals on this particular shock. There we go. Tilt them down. Put in the rest of the oil. Spin it around. Now, this is always fun. So, bit of a trick here. If you try and force it in by hand, it's going to be difficult, right? What we need to do is force it into a point where we reach the bleed hole or the air port. There we go. Hear that? And once we reach that, you might have to go back and forth, right? It's not at the end. It's like about a centimeter from the end. And once you do that, at that point, it'll be much easier to screw in. Okay. Now, some alcohol on it. Grab a fresh towel. And use your hand. You could use a strap wrench if you want. I prefer doing it with my hand. There we go. All right. Side ring. And we're done with this step. Now what is optional over here is to change the bushing, right? So Rockshox package gives us 2 bushings, one for the top, one for the bottom. I'm gonna change the top one because this one actually does look pretty worn. And ultimately, I have no idea of the history on this shock. So basically there are bushing removal tools. There's many different kinds, right? So this one over here, this is the receiver, this is the pusher. So we're gonna put the receiver in first. Then I'm gonna screw in the pusher. And then we're going to need in this case, a 13 millimeter wrench or 2 13, you could use anything really, adjustable wrench, Nipex, 13 millimeter wrench in the socket, make it go a little bit quicker over here. Okay, it's going to be a little bit stiff. we go. Whoop. And slipped. Let's do it this way. All right. That should be done for sure. There we go. I felt it that time. All right, now let's grab a towel. Let's clean the inside. Get any debris out of there. To put the new one back in, your best bet is with a vise. Take a little bit of regular waterproof grease. Waterproof grease, just grease, thicker grease. Put it on the outside. Try and stick it in as evenly as possible. And then we are going to whoop, put my clamp down. All right, nearly there, and done. All right. Oh, I did damage. Crying out loud. Look at that. Oh well. Be careful, be more careful. I had it too close is basically the corner of the, for crying out loud. Stuff happens, folks. Again, be careful. I should have paid more attention. I rushed through it. So, my bad. I'll fix that in some way or form. Last but not least, grab some alcohol, spray it down, get a paper towel, clean all excess grease and oil off the shock, especially in little areas. And there you have it, folks. You just finished fully servicing your Rockshox Deluxe Select B2 chassis shock. Again, this is a very easy job. This is a very simple shock. It's very easy to work on, but I highly recommend you do not touch the internal shaft and the eyelet or dials if you don't have to. Only work on the dials and remove the shaft if you have a dial issue, okay? If you just stick to the air can and the damper body as far as changing seals and oils, this will be a super fast job, super easy, and the shock will do you just fine. All that's left is to put the dial back to where it was before, put your air pressure back to where it was before, put your air cap on, don't forget that, and then put it on the bike, go out there and have a blast with it, all right? So, folks, if you like this video, click that like button, click that subscribe button to see more videos, click that bell button, ding, in order to get notified when new videos get released. And more videos like this are coming. If you want to check out a couple of videos right now, these two over there might be of interest. And until the next time, I hope all's well with everyone, and we will be talking to you all soon. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.